Welcome back to Timeless Messages from the Ching. This is Stephen. Thanks for tuning in. So if you found this video, no matter what the posting date on the video is, if it's 5 years from now or 5 weeks from now, the intention is to provide you with the most timeless, beneficial messages for where you're at in your current life situation at the time you find the video. So if you can, rest. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and think about the situation or the question you have in your mind. And without further ado, I am going to grab the silver dollars and ask for the most beneficial messages for the viewers at the time they find this video. What are the most beneficial messages for the viewers at the time they find this video? Most beneficial messages for the viewers at the time they find this video. Most beneficial messages for the viewers at the time they do this video. Most beneficial messages for the viewers at the time they view this video. Most beneficial messages for the viewers at the time they view this video. Most beneficial messages for the viewers at the time they view this video. Most beneficial messages for the viewers at the time that they view this video. Most beneficial messages for the viewers at the time they view this video. Okay, so this is Kun. And this is a double trigram. These are both the same, Kun and Kun. And then this changes, but they both change. This is Chen. Enough room, yes. C-H-E-N. And then the lower trigram is Yang Yin Yin, which is Ken. Put it down here. Running out of ink here. Okay, Kun and Kun. Number 2, receptive earth. And then Chen and Ken. Chen and Ken before completion. Chen and Ken. Make sure that's correct. Yeah. That's 62. Okay. Preponderance of the small. Preponderance is having the most amount or the majority. Okay, and then number 2, the dominating quality, I should say, the dominant amount, preponderance. So the receptive. The receptive and preponderance of the small. Okay, let's relax and focus on your particular situation, your question, and so forth. Take a few deep breaths. So we have the earth, the receptive earth, above and below. This hexagram is made up of broken lines only, yin lines, feminine lines. The broken line represents the dark, yielding, receptive, primal power of yin. The attribute of the hexagram is devotion. Its image is the earth. It is the perfect complement of the creative being the father, the receptive being the mother. The complement, not the opposite, for the receptive does not combat the creative, but completes it. It represents nature in contrast to spirit, earth in contrast to heaven, space as against time, the female maternal as against the male paternal. However, as applied to human affairs, the principle of this complementary relationship is found not only in the relation between man and woman, but also in that between prince and minister and between father and son. Indeed, even in the individual, this duality appears in the coexistence of the spiritual world and the world of the senses. Strictly speaking, there is no real dualism here, because there is a clearly defined hierarchic relationship between the two principles. In itself, of course, the receptive is just as important as the creative, but the attribute of devotion defines the place occupied by this primal power in relation to the creative. For the receptive must be activated and led by the creative. Then it is productive of good. Only when the receptive abandons this position and tries to stand as an equal side by side with the creative does it become evil. The result then is opposition to and struggle against the creative, which is productive of evil to both. The judgment, the receptive, brings about sublime success. Sublime meaning beautiful, good, positive qualities. Furthering through perseverance of a mare, a female horse. If the superior man undertakes something, the superior person undertakes something and tries to lead, this person goes astray. But if this person follows, this person finds guidance. It is favorable to find friends in the west and south, to forego friends in the east and north. Quiet perseverance brings good fortune. The four fundamental aspects of the creative, sublime success, beautiful and good success, and furthering through perseverance, are also attributed to the receptive. Here, however, the perseverance is more closely defined. It's that of a mare, female horse. The receptive means spatial reality in contrast to the spiritual potential of the creative. The potential becomes real, and the spiritual becomes spatial through a specifically qualifying definition. Thus, the qualification of a mare is here added to the idea of perseverance. The horse belongs to earth, just as the dragon belongs to heaven. Its tireless roaming over the plains is taken as a symbol of the vast expanse of the earth. This is the symbol chosen because the mare combines the strength and swiftness of the horse with the gentleness and devotion of the cow. Only because nature in its many forms corresponds with the many impulses of the creative can it make these impulses real. Nature's richness lies in its power to nourish all living things. Its greatness lies in its power to give them beauty and splendor. Thus it prospers all that lives. It is the creative that begets things, but they are brought to birth by the receptive being the feminine, the yin. Applied to human affairs, therefore, what the hexagram of receptive indicates is action in accordance with the situation. The person in question is not in an independent position, but is acting as an assistant. This means that this person must achieve something. It is not this person's task to try to lead. That would only make this person lose their way. But rather, it is their task to let themselves be led. If this person knows how to meet fate with an attitude of acceptance, this person is sure to find the right guidance. The superior person lets themselves be guided. This person does not go ahead blindly, but learns from the situation what is demanded, and then follows this guidance from fate. Since there is something to be accomplished, we need friends and helpers in the hour of work and effort. Once the ideas to be realized are firmly set, The time of work and effort is indicated by the west and the south. For west and south symbolize the place where the receptive works for the creative. In fact, the receptive trigram in terms of compass directions is in the southwest corner of the home, just for interesting reference. So the west and the south is the place where the receptive works for the creative, as nature does in summer and autumn. If in that situation a person does not mobilize all of one's forces, the work to be accomplished will not be done. Hence, it's important to find friends there. Hence, to find friends, there means to find guidance. But in addition to the time of work and effort, there is also a time of planning. And for this we need solitude and introspection. The east symbolizes the place where a person receives orders from the master, from the higher self, from the creator. And the north, the place where this person reports on what they have done. At that time, this person must be alone and objective. In this sacred hour, this person must do without companions, so that the purity of the moment may not be spoiled by hates and favoritism. So solitude and introspection are indicated. The image, the earth's condition, is receptive devotion. Thus, a superior person who has breadth of character carries the outer world. Just as there is only one heaven, so too there is only one earth. In the hexagram of heaven, the doubling of the trigrams implies duration and time, but in this hexagram, the doubling means the solidity and extension in space, by virtue of which the earth is able to carry and preserve all things that live and move upon it, giving the idea of Mother Earth providing and sustaining for everyone, providing everything for everyone who lives upon the earth. The earth, in its devotion, carries all things, good and evil, without exception. In the same way, the superior person gives to their character depth and breadth, purity and sustaining power, so that this person is able to both support and to bear with people and things. Essentially, the superior person is encouraging and realizing growth in their character and their sustaining power. And by doing so, they're able to support others and also tolerate and bear with others, which is not always the easiest thing to do, of course. So sixth and the third place means hidden lines. One is able to remain persevering. If by chance you are in the service of a king, seek not works, but bring to completion. If a person is free of vanity, this person is able to conceal his abilities and keep them from attracting attention too soon. Thus, this person can mature in an undisturbed fashion. If conditions demand it, this person can also enter public life. But that, too, this person does with restraint. The wise person gladly leaves fame to others. The wise person does not seek to have credited to themselves things that stand accomplished, but hopes to release active forces. That is, this person completes their works in such a manner that they may bear fruit for the future. So essentially being detached from the results that you may gain from these works, but just doing these works because it's your duty. It needs to be done. And this stuff needs to be accomplished, whatever that may be. And not seeking fame and leaving fame to others, and also not attracting too much attention, and being free of vanity. So sixth in the fourth place, a tied up sack, no blame, no praise. The dark element opens when it moves and closes when it's at rest. The strictest hesitation is indicated here. The time is dangerous because any degree of prominence leads either to hostility of irresistible antagonists if one challenges them, or to misconceived recognition if one is complacent. Therefore, a person ought to maintain inner reserve, be it in solitude or in the turmoil of the world. For there too, this person can hide themselves so well that no one knows this person. So again, this is the idea of being modest and meek and not, shall we say, coming across in an arrogant, look at me kind of way. Kind of pulling back is indicated here. Not, being way out in people's, not attracting too much attention. Not that attention is wrong, but you're not there to shine for everyone. You're just there to, make things happen and do it in such a way that you're humble and meek and mild. Because the time is dangerous, it's indicating that any degree of prominence leads to either hostility from others or antagonism from them if you challenge these other people, and you don't want to do that. And nor do you want to have misconceived recognition. So, interesting concepts about being humble. Shining, yes, of course, continue to shine, but do it in a way that you're not attracting a disfavorable perspective about yourself. You're not seeking fame. You're not vainly looking for credit. You're doing what needs to be done, and you're maintaining your inner light and your humble, meek nature. So number 62. So the first is the image may describe some of the things that you've been considering or a way to move forward based on your current situation. A lot of this has to do with the earth and devotion and being willing to be led, guided. Also, there's a lot of emphasis on being humble and meek and doing what you need to do, but not seeking out the fruits of your labor. Just doing it because it needs to be done, and then all will be well. It's when we're attached to the fruits of our labor that we begin to suffer. So, preponderance of the small, number 62. Above the first trigram is the arousing thunder, Chen, and Ken, keeping still the mountain, is below. So thunder on the mountain. While in the hexagram Takua, preponderance of the great, the strong lines are dominant and are within, enclosed between weak lines at the top and bottom. The present hexagram has weak lines dominating, though here again they are on the outside. So the weak lines, the feminine yin lines, are both on the outside, where the male lines are in the inside. So actually it's two lines on the outside, two lines on the outside, the feminine, two on there, and then the strong lines in the center. This indeed is the basis of the exceptional situation indicated by the hexagram. When strong lines are outside, we have the hexagram providing nourishment, or Cheng Fu, inner truth. Neither represents an exceptionally great state. When strong elements within are dominant, they necessarily enforce their will. This creates struggle and exceptional conditions in general. But in this present hexagram of preponderance of the small, it is the weak element that must mediate with the outside world. If a person occupies a position of authority for which they are by nature really inadequate, extraordinary caution and prudence are necessary. So in dealing with the outer world, caution and prudence. You're not there to create hostility in others. Be careful with your words. The judgment, preponderance of the small, success, perseverance furthers. Small things may be done, great things should not be done. That's very specific. Small things may be done, great things should not be done. The flying bird brings the message. It is not well to strive upward. It is well to remain below. Great good fortune. Exceptional modesty and conscientiousness are sure to be rewarded with success. However, if a person is not to throw themselves away, it is important that they should not become empty form and subservient, but be combined always with a correct dignity in personal behavior. We must understand the demands of the time, the personal situation that we find ourselves in order to find the necessary offset for its deficiencies and damages. In any event, we must not count on great success, since the required strength is lacking. In this lies the importance of the message that a person should not strive after lofty things, but rather should hold to lowly things. Again, the idea of small things rather than great things to be done. The structure of the hexagram gives rise to the idea that this message is brought by a bird. In Takua, preponderance of the great, the 4 strong, heavy lines within, supported only by 2 weak lines without, give the image of a sagging ridgepole. Here, the supporting weak lines are both outside and dominant. This gives the image of a soaring bird with its 2 wings flying. But a bird should not try to surpass itself and fly into the sun. This bird should descend to the earth where its nest is. In this way, it gives the message conveyed by the hexagram. So here we have the idea of Icarus, if you will, the bird flying too high and then not making it. So again, the idea of knowing your limits, coming down to earth, the bird coming down to earth and nesting and not flying too high, too close to the sun. It's also important to understand the demands of the time and what is necessary, because the required strength is not as sufficient as we might like. And we should not count on great success, but rather small successes and do small things. So, just like the bird is willing to, okay, I had a nice flight, now I'm going to head on back down to my nest and recuperate and take it easy. The image, thunder on the mountain, the image of preponderance of the small. Thus, in their conduct, the superior person gives the dominant emphasis to reverence, and in bereavement, this person gives the dominant focus to grief, and in their expenditures or spending, they give the dominant focus to thrift. So again, the situation really will guide you to what it is that would be best for you. If you're in a time of thrift, your current situation, then it's not a good idea to incur additional expenses or debt. Thunder on the mountain is different from thunder on the plain. In the mountains, thunder seems much nearer. Outside the mountains, it is less audible than the thunder of an ordinary storm. Thus, the superior person derives an imperative from this image. The superior person must always fix their eyes more closely and more directly on their duty than does the ordinary person, even though this might make their behavior seem petty to the outside world. The superior person is exceptionally conscientious in their actions. They're very aware of what they're doing with their actions. They're not blindly taking actions or speaking words. And in bereavement and sadness, emotion means more to this person than ceremoniousness. So if there's been a loss, then emotion is much more important than the actual ritual or ceremony, such as a funeral and so forth. It's the actual feeling and penetrating and going deep within that emotion. And all this person's personal expenditures, they are extremely simple and unpretentious. In comparison with the person of the masses, all this makes this person, the exceptional person, stand out as exceptional. But the essential significance of the superior person lies in the fact that in external matters, the superior person is on the side of the lowly, the underdog. So here again we have an idea of preponderance of the small, focusing on doing small things, not trying to accomplish great things, not striving too far upward, just as the bird knows its limits and comes back to nest at the right time and doesn't fly too close to the sun like Icarus. So the superior person understands the importance of the time and what the time demands of them. If things are sad, then they focus on the emotion of sadness. If things are, if they need to be thrifty and cautious with their expenditures, then they do so. They're thrifty. They don't expend too much income toward things that they don't absolutely need. So there's a simplicity, there's an unpretentiousness that's emulated by this archetype, and this is encouraged in this particular reading for you to embody as well. And this particular superior person that it's encouraging you to check into within your inner being is not the same as the person of the masses. And this makes the superior person stand out as exceptional. So it's essentially guiding you to tune into your inner superior person and that exceptional character that lies within you, that is aware of what the situation demands and is willing to be led from the receptive point of view. Be led, be humble, be meek, be mild, not arrogant, not vain. These are very, very powerful ideas that need to be considered strongly. And of course, the idea of the superior person in external matters or worldly matters, let's say, they're always on the side of the underdog, the lowly. The lowly can be those that do not have as much, are not as blessed, are struggling. So the superior person is always on their side because that is where the greatest amount of need is, and the superior person is willing to be led to help that person who needs more to receive that. So a lot of very good messages, a lot of sincerity in terms of understanding the demands of the time and then acting accordingly and not flying too high, not trying to accomplish too much, but being humble and meek. I would imagine that listening to this a couple more times could be very helpful. This is a very long reading because the receptive is so deep. Major messages here again are allowing yourself not to lead the situation, but to gently let yourself be guided, be led. Also, the importance of being mild and meek, not puffing yourself up, not being vain and arrogant. And again, you're on the side of the lowly, those who need more and need to have assistance. Always the superior person is on the side of the lowly. So I would also jot down some of these very important ideas, make a note of them, and then through your day and the next week or longer, begin to integrate these messages. And as you do so and allow these aspects to come through, you'll find that you're moving forward in a better way with less resistance. Less resistance equals more progress. If you'd be interested in a personal reading, the information on personal readings is in the description box. Thanks for tuning in and take care.